Each team we address differently. We have to take a snapshot of who we are. This year's team specifically happens to be a young team. So building core leadership was real important for me, and we have two-thirds of our roster for this winter and spring is underclassmen. We have some seniors, some quality players, but a lot of underclassmen, and I anticipate a lot of underclassmen being on the field. Maybe not as starters, but as key roles. So our ability to show them how to lead, our ability to have the contagious work ethic that's helped us be successful over the past several years has been a huge goal. I think also is continue to build a relationship between the players and the coaches, something we've addressed as a team, and striving for everybody. You talk family, but do you truly believe that statement? And we wanted to believe that statement going into this upcoming year, so we spent a lot of time on that. If we really talk about, on the field, it's, we have some things we hang our hat on. And first thing is our ability to execute the fundamental part of the game. And it starts with your stance. It starts with your assignment and responsibility and communication. And any team I've ever been part of has done a great job with that. And those are the things sometimes you overlook as a staff and you go into schemes. So, we're going to try to hang our hat on that. And then the second thing is we talk about is our mental toughness. Your ability to get beat on a play, your ability to throw an interception, your ability to fumble the ball and play the next play. So developing that mental toughness throughout the spring, allowing these guys to play through it, and not only in the games on Saturday when we have our scrimmages, but through each practice. And then lastly is the game's got to be played physical. We promote that here as an O-line guy. I certainly believe defending the run and being able to run the football is important. So, the physical part of the game is going to certainly be there. Recruiting is the key to being successful, obviously, and building the relationships we talked about and the development part. But we love being on the field with the guys and training those things. So, I think overall is a great level of excitement. As I said, we got a lot of new guys that I'm really looking forward to that I think have, a lot of potential and see where they can get to. Yeah, 3-year starter and a 4-year player. He played in his first year also as a backup, quite a few reps. I think as we witness from the NFL down to Pop Warner, if you have a quarterback, it can be pretty good. So, but I'm excited about where we are. The last time we went through this, as I said, Joe took over the program with really no backup that had experience. I think we have 2 upperclassmen in the program that have played in games, that have performed correctly, mostly in practice, which is different. And then we have 2 freshmen coming up. Tyquell Fields and Jack Cassidy, I think, understand what we're doing now. We're in the 3rd year of an offense that made some changes 2 years ago. So Joe and these guys started this at the same time. So these guys are the 3rd year into it. Joe only ran this offense for 2 years. So I think he did a great job of the conceptual part of it. But the exciting part is with these 2 guys, they've been in it the whole time. And so this will be their 3rd spring ball through it and 3rd preseason through it. And so, I'm confident. But we as Stony Brook don't ever lay the game on the quarterback. We want to be efficiently run the football. Last year we led the CA in rushing offense at 209 yards a game in the 8 CA games. And if we can do that, that helps the quarterback. Long Island Express, I might have been able to be part of that when I was playing because I'm from Long Island. Certainly both, I always look at it this way: when you graduate, what you would perceive for the outside of star players, for me, what you perceive guys that you can count on. You don't look to replace them. You honestly look to just build the next guy and take his strengths. We've got a couple of guys in the program that I'm confident in. We may extend the Long Island Express into Brooklyn, Staten Island, because that's where the backs are. We'll start in out in Easton, Long Island, and just moved down the expressway. But, Isaiah White, who as a true freshman carried the ball for us, and then out of need for our program, he moved to linebacker for a couple of years. We were fortunate able to redshirt him last year. Will be the lead guy. He's captain. He's carried in games. And then we got some underclassmen that I'm happy with. Once again, it's about doing it on the field, so cautiously optimistic. Well, just to address those two linebackers, maybe the best part about those two kids was their ability to lead by example off the field. Academically, both mid-3.0 students, just guys that did the right thing off the field, in the weight room, and then, on the field, in my opinion, they were really, really good players, obviously, and they really allowed us to be successful as a defensive unit. They erased a lot of plays, as we use a term here at Stony Brook, who are erasers. So, but they're gone, and we will not talk about, honestly, them as we move forward. Oh, we wish we had Shane, or we wish we had Noah. The reality is the development of the kids that are in the program. We actually graduated our top 3 linebackers. So, we're going into, this stage of unknown. It's probably the biggest unknown position, on our football team outside the quarterback position. And I think we have some more answers at quarterback because kids have played games. So, probably this spring ball will give us an idea of who can perform, but it's going to be a process, and we'll have to take it through preseason. And I wouldn't expect to have a starting linebacker or two until probably late in preseason when we see who really can fit in. And it might be by committee early. Let's remember, these two guys that ended up being, 40-game starters or so, whatever it was, didn't play in their freshman year and didn't get on the field till late in their second year of eligibility. So it is a process. Yeah, I thought the team did a good job of selecting captains. As I said, Isaiah, redshirted last year, wasn't in the mix and still was elected captain. When you look at Sam Kamara, I think arguably he'll be as good a defensive lineman as we've had here in my tenure. We've had some real good ones, but I think he fits up there. And then, Gavin Heslop's work ethic and commitment to excellence the last few years has certainly gone noticed. And I think all 3 are interesting because every group of captains is different, and then each one is individually. But I think these 3, apart from loving the game, are physical at the game. Isaiah White, 2 years ago won Special Teams Player of the Year because of kickoff and his ability to go down and do those things. So, they're physical players. And I think they've got a lot of help from the underclassmen. I think we got some people in the program. So I tell the captains when they're elected, it's maybe the happiest day, and it's probably the last day they want to be captain because, stuff falls on their shoulders, and it's leading by example, which is important. They have so far, and they will continue to, in my opinion. Yeah, to address the freshmen, we've been fortunate enough to have a veteran team each of the last few years, where incoming freshmen, guys that have not been here, have had very little impact on our success. And I look at our program, I'm hoping the same happens. There's a guy or two probably that will come in and then be pressed into a special team or two, or pressed into a backup role. But, I think we've established a program where the incoming freshmen do not need to be a major impact. Speaking on behalf of the injured guys, it looks like as we sit here today, there'll only be one guy that'll miss the entire spring. We'll have a couple that'll miss the beginning, but I think everybody else will be back, which is huge. Now, hopefully, knock on wood, we stay away from injuries as we go through the spring, and these guys are able to develop and, be important. But, the way I look at it is this is a process. We've got over 6 months till we open up, and, we've got a lot of time to develop these kids. Spring ball is the first phase. Summer is the second phase, and then preseason is the third phase. It's an interesting question because, my expectation is our stars play like stars. So to sit there and say I want to get more out of Gavin Heslop, I think we're going to get a lot out of Gavin Heslop. It'll be interesting to see how our backup corners play because, you know, all four of them are green, meaning they have not played a lot. So, you know, how do those guys play? How does Cato Jacobs play? How does Jabari Reddick play? How does Greg Young play? How does Quentin Porter play? Guys that have never been on the field, and what we're looking for is their competitiveness. You know, and I think you said the young linebackers, obviously, and once again, as I started this whole thing off, we're looking for guys that develop, understand, play hard. So, you know, I guess I'm not about singling out people. I think that's certainly let the kids sort that out. Well, you know, first of all, we have a recruiting team here of off-the-field guys that do a great job of setting the parameters of what we're doing and building our brand and allowing us as coaches to spend an inordinate amount of time on football. But, you know, recruiting is your lifeline. You've got to identify. You've got to be able to reach out. You've got to be able to solidify, and you've got to be able to yield. So it is a process. It gets faster and faster every year. 35 years of coaching, and now you've got kids making decisions, you know, a year and a half before, you know, they're ready to attend the college. So we're going to spend our time on it. You know, we try to appropriate our schedule accordingly. And at different times of the year, obviously, there's balance. You know, spring football is interesting because more than the fall, we do spend more time on recruiting, you know, as a coaching staff. Right now, a lot of it's about being able to evaluate correctly and identify kids at a Stony Brook University student athletes, and that's academically, socially, and football-wise.